Okay, so this is your review for your test on similarity and congruency, mainly in triangles. So let's stick with triangles right here. Make sure you pay attention to whether you're proving congruency or similarity. In this case, this group is going to be congruency. Now, the way I have it marked here may not be the way it's marked on the test, because it all could be just different pieces that are marked. So make sure you're paying attention to the marks and not just memorizing, oh, that's the same drawing. It might be the same drawing, but it's going to be definitely different marks for the test. So be careful with that. So when you start these problems, look and see, okay, I have a side mark here. This is an angle mark in the corner, and this is an angle mark on this one. All right, we'll go here. I got an angle mark, and a side. And it doesn't matter. It's not about going to the left or going to the right. It's about counting up what you see. So in one triangle, does it match the other triangle? Two angles and a side, yeah. All right, so then you decide, if I got two angles and a side, is the side between them or not between them? Is the side right in between these A's? No, it is not. So AAS, two angles and a side, does this one meet the same requirements? Two angles, the side's not between it? Yes. So this one right now would be angle, angle, side. If the marks had been different, it would totally change the answer. So you've got to really pay attention to where everything's marked. All right, if they touch, you get to mark it yourself. So remember, I've got verticals, so I could put an angle hatch mark here. And so now I have that. So let's look and see. That's all I see marked. I've got an angle. Here's another angle, but I don't have anything else. There's nothing else I can mark. They're not sharing a whole side. They're just touching right there at the verticals. So that's not enough. Everything's got to have three. Even HL has an angle in there. So this is not enough, and this is not going to prove that they're congruent. So on number 3, you have a side they're sharing. You can put your own hatch mark there. All right, and then you can take it separately. Now this is hard for people to see though. Keep in mind what you're looking at. On one triangle, right here, we're looking at what's marked on this one triangle. But it's got a right angle. Remember how we said, okay, if we got a right angle, let's check hypotenuse leg first. Is the hypotenuse marked? No. So, well, it's not going to be hypotenuse leg then, because there's no hypotenuse marked. It has to be marked. All right, it has one, but it's not marked. It's saying it matches the other one. So, but we do have other stuff. So we have side here, and we have an angle. Right angle is still an angle, and then we have a side here. So it's looking like it might be side, angle, side. Is the angle in between where the two sides touch? You see, I highlighted these two sides there. Yeah, that's the angle. Is the other one the same thing? Side, angle, side. Yes, so that's a little bit. The angle is between the two. All right, here's another vertical. They're sharing that angle. So we're going to mark that angle. All right, now let's think about what we have. Here's a side. We've got our angle. Here's a side. Now stop and think. If I'm going to put side, angle, side, is the angle where the two sides touch? Here's a side. Here's a side. Is that the angle where they're touching? No, that's not the right angle. That's not the correct angle in that corner. So it had to be right there in that corner. So this is another not congruent. Easily to change, so don't just memorize the shapes. You got to know what the marks are telling you on there. All right, number 5. I got another vertical. Vertical. Okay. So let's look at what's on this triangle. I see an angle. I see a side marked with the middle and another angle. And then here's an angle. Here's an angle, and here's a side over here. Now, you might be thinking, hey, that's side, angle, side. When I look at the two angles, that is the side in between. But when I look at these two angles, is that the side in between? See, that one's different. So you've got to really be watching these. It looks like it might be angle, side angle. This one could be angle, angle, side, so they don't match. So that's not, my thing's not working there, not congruent. All right, next, I see a right angle. What am I supposed to be checking? Hypotenuse and a leg. Yeah, it's got them both. This one doesn't have hypotenuse, does it? Okay, you can tell where I whited it out, but yeah, doesn't have a hypotenuse, so this is another knot. It's got to have the marks. You don't see the marks, don't mark. The only time you could add marks is if they're touching, sharing a side, like number 7. They're sharing that whole side. You can put your own marks there. Double, triple, whatever. Just make it one thing for that one thing. Over here too, same thing. They're sharing a side. Number 3, they were sharing a side. That's it. Number 2 has vertical. 4 has vertical. You can mark those, but those are angles. All right, so here we go. Another right angle. Don't skip over the right angle part. So we're looking at right angles, and we're thinking hypotenuse leg. Is the hypotenuse marked? Yes. Okay, on both of them, yeah. Is one of the legs. Well, that's what you just did right there. That was a leg. That was a side. When I think about these sides of the right triangle, these are called the legs. So yeah, one of the legs is marked right there. So this is going to be hypotenuse leg. Okay, and the last one, you've got a side here, you got an angle in the corner, and you got a side, and then you got an angle in this corner, and you got a side. So you got to take your hand, cover up one of them, do what you need to do, and say, okay, in this one triangle, these are trickier. When they share a side, people get a little confused about what to pick up with it. When they're sharing that side, think, okay, here's my side, here's my other side in the middle. They're sharing that, but that's still the side. And the angle, is it in the corner between it? Yes. So that one's good to go. That looks like side, angle, side. All right, so then if I try to clean that off and look at the other one, other triangle over here, let's look at the pieces. That's a side still that they share. Side, angle, side. This side is meeting this side at a right angle. Not at a right angle, sorry, at the same corner. So yeah, there's the angle that we. Alright, so this one's asking to reflect across the y-axis. And you to draw it, well, I don't think on the test you'll have to draw it, but you'll have to tell like where's B prime or A prime or something like that. What's the new point? So on the graph, if you're asked to reflect across the y-axis, that makes y the reflection line. So y is like your mirror. So you will need to just count. Okay? How far is A from the line of reflection? 2 spaces. Flip across the mirror. 1, 2. Put your A prime. A prime. B, same thing. 2 spaces. 2 spaces. Just straight to the mirror. From C, straight to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that'll be C prime. And so I'll have my reflection. It looks like it flipped across. A little lopsided. But if I ask, say, what is point B? Where is point B? Then it would be at 2, 2. Where's point A? A prime. Where's the image of the original? It's over 2 and up 7. So you'll just be putting those points on there. Alright, now I want you to be able to pick out the reflection, rotation, or translation, depending on which situation it is. Alright, so X, Y, Z, that's our one with no marks, is called the pre-image. All these other ones are going to be called images. They are the copy. Okay, so then X prime with one little mark, see they got one mark, that is right here. So what happened? Did it turn? Look at the X's and the letters. No, it didn't turn. They're all facing the same way. So, did it flip across and make a reflection? No, it's not reflected. So what happened? It moved down one and over to get to that new point. Well, which one goes first when you do a translation? It's going to be a translation. It's just sliding over. It went slide. It slid down one and over 6. So which way are we going with the 6? We're going that way with the 6. So that'll be positive 6 on the X. And it went down 1, so that'll be negative 1 for the Y. For the Y-axis. So remember how we did. And then check them out. See if they're going to go the same way. You could go over 6 and down 1 to get there. Same thing. Over 6, down 1. Alright, then next, the double prime is down here. So look at where Y is. Y was 2 spaces away. It's still 2 spaces away. Z right there, right there. And so this looks like a reflection. It looks like it flipped across what line though? Okay? It is a reflection, but is it reflected across the X-axis or Y-axis? Where's the line? Right there. That's where it flipped across. That's your X-axis. So, reflect across X. And then finally, and these are all compared to the original. You go back to the original on this one. To the third one. So let's look. Trickier here. Did it just slide over? Is it in the same, turn the same way? No. It's all turned different and goofy, alright? So, let's see. If it went from this quadrant to this quadrant, that could be a rotation, 180-degree rotation, but let's check. Let's see. From Z to the origin, it went down 2 and back 1. Let's see if that repeats. Over 1 and down 2. Yeah, so that's looking like those types that we did there. And this is the one, if Z, the original Z, was at -1, 2, if you're going to do a 180, what do? Just change the signs? +1, -2? Is that where it ended up? Over 1, down 2? Yes. So we're now finding the missing side. And make sure you're putting the right pieces together when you do this. So here's your small triangle, here's your large. And yes, we're going to set up small over large. Pick out something from the small, like 3 is between the single hatch mark and the right angle. When I come down here, a single hatch mark right angle, it doesn't have a match. So that means I'm not going to be using the 3. But I can come back and I can use the 6 maybe. 6 is between the right angle, the corner with nothing, right angle, corner with nothing, 18. 6 with 18. And then finally, go back to the small, make sure you put the small on top, 7 over the X, that will be your hypotenuse. Cross multiply, 6x equals 126, and X ends up being 21. Number 2. Now, this should be obviously you've got hatch mark, hatch mark, hatch mark. All the hatch marks are supposed to be equal, so that's going to be 9. But all the sides will be equal for both of them. So, just a little easy freebie right there. You only have to cross multiply. Alright, here's your trickiest one. So you got the small, you got the large. Pick out a side from the small. Let's start with A. A from the small, between the double hatch mark and the corner with nothing. Double hatch mark, corner with nothing goes with 25. Remember, I might turn them a different way on the test. Just look at the hatch marks. Alright, now, if I picked 6, that's the double and the single hatch mark. The 6 would match up with B, double and single X mark, but I can't have A and B in the same problem. So we're going to put 2 instead. And 2, single in the corner with nothing, single in the corner with nothing goes with 10. So 2 over 10. Cross multiply, 10A equals 50, and A is going to be 5. When you start over to find the B, and yes, you got to find both parts, the B part, you can use that 10 and 2 again. So 2 over 10 still goes together. Now, when we say 6 went with B, make sure you put them in the right spot. 6 from the small, B from the large. Cross multiply, 2B equals 60, and B is going to be 30. Now, you could get decimals there, just depends on what number I put in for it. Okay, so we're back to choosing the proof that it is similar or not. And on these, you only have the 3 choices, so don't make up new ones. I think it's multiple choice anyway, so it doesn't matter. But remember, you're going to look at the marks, but in similar, you're going to have to also check the ratios. You can't just put them down there. So we're looking at number 7, and we're doing small to large ratio. We'll start setting up some stuff. 5, we'll go with 15. That's the smallest, going with the smallest out of that group. Or no, it's not going with the smallest. Got it all mixed up here. So smallest out of this one is 5. Smallest out of this one, out of the large, is 12. And then the medium, 6, we got 6. Does this have isosceles? No. So you could stop right there. But if you did 6 with 12, this is going to come out to 1/2. Does this one come out to 1/2 over here? No. So that's telling you right off the bat it's not going to be similar. Okay? They've got to have that matching ratio. Not similar. Alright, so then we check the next one. Small. Smallest thing is 8. Going with the smallest thing up here is 16. That's going to make 1/2. And then that leaves a 10 to go with the 20. Matching up the pieces in the same spot. And so that'll be 1/2. So yes, they're looking like they're going to be. Now which one is it? What do we have on here? This is a side. This is a side. But what's that in the corner? An angle. So side, angle, side. Remember, these are going to be different marks on the test. Alright, and then here, once again, if they're vertical, you get to mark it yourself, but you still need to check your ratios, small to large. 5 is the smallest, goes with 10. That'll make 1/2. 8 with 12, does that make 1/2? No, so these are not similar. You gotta have that ratio to match. On these, you're splitting the triangle. And your final problem, there's the tree, there's the ground, there's Joe. Okay, yeah. Alright, so then Joe is 6 feet tall. That's why nobody messes with him, even though he's deformed. Okay, and he wants to know the height of the tree. The tree's shadow is 15 feet long, and John's shadow is 9.5. There's your ratio right there, small to large. 6 goes over your x, 9.5 goes over 0.5 to 15. Cross multiply, and you'll have your answer. There you go.